Kairete. This is Abbey Greek, Biblion to Proton, Chapter Beta. This is a lesson on Greek's first declension. Keep in mind, this is classical Attic Greek, so this is different from Homeric Greek. This is going to be different from, say, if you're reading Herodotus. This is probably going to be different from Koine Greek. This is classical Attic Greek. So Greek nouns, like Latin, are divided into groups or families called declensions. The classical Greek first declension may contain either feminine or masculine nouns. So feminine nouns, they have nominative singulars in alpha or eta, and this is sort of equivalent to the Latin a, while the genitive of these nouns ends in either as or es, and that's going to be for the alpha, the mixed, and the eta classes. Masculine first declension nouns, Greek has more of them than Latin. They have nominative singulars in either as or es. This is equivalent to somewhat like Latin's agricola, poeta, atleta. Atleta is definitely a Greek word, as is poeta. While the genitive of these nouns is ou, which is borrowed from Greek's second declension, which is a more masculine declension. All right, let's get to it. So, first declension. If the nominative singular has an alpha and it is preceded by a vowel or the letter rho, then this is the alpha class. The alpha class, for the alpha stays throughout. So noun like peira, as, pe, a try, an attempt. This is the nominative singular. There it is, peira. And here is the genitive singular ending, and then here's the definite article, and then the English definition. Also, pay very close and careful attention to the accents. I'll go ahead and take you through some of how the accents work here. Feel free to review the accent rules from the chapter alpha video. So we have peira, so this word, it's not a perispomena, but a pro-perispomena. It has a circumflex on the penult. The ending is alpha. Now the genitive is going to be as, a long alpha, long. So the ultima is now long. A circumflex cannot stand on a penult if the ultima is long. That's just the way that Greeks talked. That's just the rule. So that circumflex downgrades to an acute. We chop the grave part off of the circumflex and we get the acute. So peiras instead of peira, peiras. The dative, it's a long alpha, and then that means not an iota adscript, but iota subscript. So peira, peira. The classical Greek, the subscript is barely pronounced. It's almost not quite there. I sometimes put a little I at the end, just so I know that it's there. But typically the alpha is so long that it has swallowed up the iota, and it's barely pronounced. And the pronunciation seems to have been totally obliterated by the time of Christ. So peirai, or peirai. Anyway, this is a long alpha. That makes this, once again, the circumflex cannot stand. The circumflex wants to be here. The accent wants to be on whatever is the nominative. But if the ultima changes, then the accent has to follow whatever rules the ultima says. So the ultima is long here, turns into an acute. The ultima is long here, turns into acute. Now the accusative, heiran, on, the ending is on, that's short. That's a short ending, short ultima. That means that, we can go back to a circumflex. Oh, wow, what a relief, like we did on the nominative. So, peira, peiras, peirai, peiran. The vocative is peira. It's the same as the nominative. Now the dual, things that come in twos. Now, not every Greek author, classical Greek author, uses the dual. The dual more shows up in older Greek, like Homer, than in classical Greek, but hey, it still shows up. So things that come in twos, and plural are three and more. So 1, 2, 3, and more. Dual, pera, that alpha is long. Perine, that's a long diphthong. Perine, that's a long diphthong. Pera, that's a long ultima. And pera, that's a long ultima. So the circumflex cannot stand on any of those penults because the alpha is long. Now, nota bene, note well, a final I in the nominative plural here is counted as short when determining accent, and there is a reason we'll tell you later. So this final diphthong here in the nominative plural, that is actually short. So note that well. This is actually short. This is long. It's closed by a consonant. This is just sort of dangling there by itself. It's short. So peirai, peirai. Nota bene, note well, the genitive plural of all first declension nouns is always circumflexed. All genitive first declension genitive plural nouns are perispomenon. All of them are perispomenon, have to be. The circumflex is always over the omega in the on ending, so peron. The dative, perais, perais. And then the accusative, peras, peras. So the ultima, this is long diphthong, so the circumflex cannot stand. This is a long ending, os, like in Latin, cannot stand. Yep, we can go back to this short ultima, this short I. So yes, the circumflex can stand there. So pera, peras, perai, peran, pera. Pera, perine, perine, pera, pera, perai, peron, perais, peras, perai. The mixed class, that is the mixed alpha eta class, if the nominative singular has an alpha preceded by a consonant, and that consonant is not allowed to be rho, that would make it an alpha class. So a consonant and then alpha as the nominative, then the alpha changes to an eta in the genitive and dative singular. Otherwise, the endings will be the same as the alpha class. So we have our example, talalatta, es, he, the sea. Now, for instance, if you were reading Homer, this word would be pronounced talasse, talasse. It'll have a double sigma and an eta instead of the double tau and alpha. So this is pretty much a merging, this mixed class is a merging of the Doric and the Ionic dialects and forming the Attic dialect. So we have talata, short ultima. The accent wants to be here. It will try as hard as it can to stay right here on the antepenult for its entire declension. If the ultima becomes long, then this acute cannot stand on this antepenult. It cannot be proparoxytonic. It has to become whoop, paroxytone. A long ultima will drag this accent from the antepenult to the penult. So talalata, talalates, so long genitive, s instead of the alpha class os, s, so it drags that accent there, becomes paroxytonic. Talalate, so we have the a, this is a long ultima, drags that accent there, and the accusative, talalatan, so we have a short ultima, the accent can go back to where it wants to be on the nominative. And the vocative, talalata. The dual and the plural will be exactly the same as the alpha. So talalata, talatatine, talalatatine, talatata, talatata, talalatai, talaton, talatatis, talatatas, talatatai. And the eta class. The eta class, as the name suggests, a lot of etas. If the nominative singular has an eta, then the eta is kept throughout the singular, and the dual and the plural endings will be the same. So I chose for exemplar psyche, eis, he, which is the soul. We get the word psyche. So I also chose this one because it's an oxytone. Check it out. It's an oxytone. It's got an acute on its ultima. That ultima is long. So oxytones of the first and second declension will always be circumflexed on their genitives and datives singular, dual, and plural. And that's just a rule. So oxytones of the first and second declension will always have the circumflex on the genitive and dative singular, dual, and plural. All right, so the nominative is psyche, psyche. Genitive will be psycheis, circumflex that genitive, then circumflex the dative, psyche. The accusative goes back to an acute, psychen, and the vocative, psyche. Psycha, psychain, psychain, psycha, psycha, psychai, psychon, psychais, psychas, psychai. Greek word for soul. Now, the masculine nouns. A first declension masculine noun can have either as, long alpha sigma, or s, eta sigma. The endings are the same as the above, same as the ones that came before for the alpha, mixed, and eta classes. They also follow the same vowel and row rules, except the genitive singular of these nouns will be borrowed from the second declension, and it will kind of betray that they are masculine. So the genitive singular of the second declension is oo, oo. So it's not too difficult to remember this because you're going to be memorizing the dictionary entry, and the genitive singular is going to be right there in the thing you have to memorize. So neanias ou ho is a youth, a young man. So the singular is going to be neanias, like it is in the dictionary. And then the genitive is going to be neaniu, neania, neanian, neania. Now, the vocative singular of masculine nouns ending in as, like neanias, is a long alpha. It's a long alpha. Whereas the nominatives ending in s, it's going to be a short alpha. And yes, this can affect the accent. It does not here in this case, but maybe it does in the next example. So, neanias, neaniu, neaniai, neanian, neania. The dual, neania, neaniai, neaniain, neania, neania. Ignore the circumflexes right here. The accent should be here. Neaniai, neanion, always circumflex this guy. Neanias, neanias, neaniai. So the endings are the same as the previous, except oo, oo, and they follow the alpha pattern. So polites, here's another example where the nominative ends in s instead of as. So polites ou ho, which is citizen, the root polis. The vocative, remember, of the previous selection, the vocative of as, long alpha sigma nominatives, that vocative will be a long alpha. Whereas here, s, the vocative will be a short alpha, and that can affect the accent. So let's look at polites. Make sure that you keep in mind that the iota is long and accented. So the word is paroxytonic. Polites, politu, politei. So we have eta, 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 as opposed to neanias, alpha, alpha, alpha. Polites, politu, polite, politen, polita. Hey, check it. Look what happened there. So, polites, the ultima is long. Ou, the ultima is long. A, the ultima is long. N, the ultima is long. check out the vocative. The ultima is short. That long iota, it actually doesn't want to be an acute. It wants to be a circumflex. It can't be a circumflex if the ultima is long, and the ultima is long in the nominative, genitive, dative, and accusative. In the vocative, the ultima is short. So that long iota is circumflexed. Polita, it does affect the accent. Okay, check out the dual. Polita, the ultima is long. Politine, long. Politine, long. Polita, long. Polita, long. Now remember that nominative plural I, that's actually short. So politae, the accent changes from an acute to a circumflex. Politae. Politon, all genitive plurals of the first declension are accented there. And politais, politas, and then politai. Remember, just like up here, this is short for accentuation purposes. So that becomes circumflex. Politai. Arista, very well done. That's it for first declension nouns in Greek. The alpha class, the mixed class, the eta class, and then the masculine nouns ending either in as or s, and their genitives end in u. Excellent. Go ahead and review this. Make sure you understand the accents, and then go ahead and try out the second declension video.